We know that in the end, how we get through it all will always depend on who we get through it all with.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
This is WMAY on 92.7, 94.7, and 970 AM.
All right, let's mix it up a little bit. I want to hear about your bad vacation stories. 217-629-7970. It's 8:11 on the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop. You can get a hold of me as well via email, bishoponair@gmail.com. I take news tips there if you want to remain anonymous. And let me know what you think might be newsworthy. You can email me that way, or you can just share random thoughts and comments that way. Or follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Bishop on Air. All one word, you'll be able to find it. But bad vacation experiences. I want to hear about it. 217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. We had a wonderful experience in Iceland. Our fourth time several weeks ago was on vacation. Still got just hours of vacation videos that I got to put together. And Megan and I, we definitely want to do a different type of vacation video than we've done in the past, where, you know, the trips we've taken to Iceland before, we just slap video together and put some music to it, and it was really just eye candy more than anything. But we do plan on sitting down and actually putting some thought into a more well-rounded Iceland adventure video, explaining various things like the travel aspect and all the different sites that are just mind-blowing in Iceland. But had a great vacation. The only thing that was bad about it was we had to get the COVID tests at a clinic in the Icelandic capital of Reykjavik, which was just nightmarish. And then, you know, having to get back into the country of the United States, just the long lines at customs, and, you know, you could tell they took like 7 planes and threw them all together in just one spot. And I don't know how that helps stop the spread of COVID-19, but regardless. But other than that, it was a wonderful vacation. Now, I've had other bad vacation experiences, and sometimes it deals with your car, doing things that you really don't want your car to do. I think it was on our honeymoon, actually. We were coming back from Florida, Megan and I, this is years ago. And for whatever reason, I thought that my car was low on oil, so I put some oil in it. And then, you know, a couple 100 miles down the road, all of a sudden the car is spewing out white smoke. And I was a little freaked out, needless to say. Pulled over on the side of the road, tried to figure out what was going on. Then we'd go back another few more miles, and then white smoke would be pouring out of the exhaust. And I'm just like, oh, what is going on here? So we actually had to make a pit stop in like Kentucky or something. And, you know, completely unplanned, to the point where we stayed at some, you know, 1-star hotel. Had to find a mechanic last ditch on a Sunday. And I think actually we had to wait until the following morning to actually get somebody to look at it. But yeah, coming back from our honeymoon in a Mercury Milan that I put too much oil in, and then finding out it was totally my fault. Yeah, that definitely made for it was a great vacation, but it was on the way back where things really got messed up. And we had a colleague here at the radio station whose family recently went on vacation, and they took the family van. Then all of a sudden, this you know, steady, awesome family van that they've had for a while, they loved it. It craps out on them on vacation. On vacation, they're hundreds of miles away from home. And the van just, it stops. It's not doing what it needs to do and drive the family around in a safe manner. So my colleague had to spend part of his vacation going from mechanic shop to mechanic shop, trying to find out who can figure out what the heck's going on with it, and then finding out, well, we don't have the parts, and then you got to go over here and you got to go over there. And it's just like, oh boy. So on his vacation, he ended up having to buy a new large family vehicle. So he was able to take the lemons and turn them into lemonade, but still not something you want to deal with on vacation. So I'd love to hear your bad vacation stories. And you can get all Chevy Chase if you want. It's right here live and local. Stay informed, stay connected. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, sir. So I got an Irvy story for you.
All right. Love Irvy stories. Rest in peace.
So, yes, back in the day, we would always go to a family vacation and a family reunion in a different state. So this year, it was in Texas. So my mother actually had to work, so she wasn't able to go. So it was just my dad and us 4 kids. And we took a camper with us, a big old pop top. And so we get to the Oklahoma-Texas border, and we pass, and all of a sudden the camper gets a flat.
Ah.
So,
which, by the way, I think is a rite of passage for anybody traveling in a camper. You have to have at least one unexpected flat tire, regardless if it's one of those bus campers or regardless if it's a travel trailer or a pop-up. That is just a rite of passage. You are going to have to deal with a flat tire.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. So anyway, I'm about maybe 9 or 10-ish. So Dad doesn't want me to get out of the car yet because of the interstate, and he wants me to stay in the car with the other kids because I'm the oldest. So, anywho, then a cop pulls up, and if you've seen Irvy or any pictures back in the day, you know he really doesn't look that socially acceptable. With
no, come on. He did have long hair, and he had the handlebar mustache. I mean, that's socially acceptable in the Old West. I mean, if you're at a parlor getting ready to draw your six shooter.
I mean, if you're a Civil War general, that's perfectly fine. But now, he's who he was, and the cop who comes up is looking at him just like, are you really supposed to be here? The cop then figures out there's 4 kids in the car, and Irvy tells him, we're going to a family reunion. And he basically just tells him everything that's going on. The cop isn't buying it.
Oh, wow.
Because he's coming from Illinois, basically going to Mexico with 4 kids in the car and pulling a trailer back in like 92 or 94 or whatever. So obviously the cop's kind of onto him until the cop, he's like, do you mind if I talk to the kids? My dad's like, sure, go ahead. He's like, crap, I'm going to jail today.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the cop comes to us, and we just, unload everything on the officer. And we're like, yeah, we're going to Texas. It's a family reunion. We actually just got the flat, blah, blah, blah. Basically, we clear Irvy.
Yeah.
And everything was perfectly fine. And then the cop was all, fine and dandy with it, too. And he was like, do you need any help now? Instead of, silver bracelets.
Right,
so,
right.
But it's one of those things. It could have ended bad, but it didn't. But it's still one of just the hilarious stories that could have went totally wrong.
And if Irvy upset one of his kids just the slightest, the kids could have really thrown a wrench into things and say, "Help me, help me!"
And I always told him too. I was like, if it was like 2 years after or 2 years later, I said there would be a big practical joke here, Dad. And then he kind of turned into Red Foreman from that 70s show on me. I was like, boy, if you would have done that, you would have had a foot so far up your butt, it would not have been funny.
Oh, wow. Well, I appreciate that story. That's a fantastic story. Would love to hear yours. 217-629-7970 is the phone number, your bad vacation stories. And sometimes it seems that it deals a lot with just the travel aspect. But that's not the only thing that happens. Another colleague of mine went on a short vacation, and he was staying at a hotel with his family. And in the middle of the night, the fire alarm goes off. And it would not stop. Even after they went out there, it would not stop. So, bad vacation stories. 217-629-7970. Good morning.
Hey, it's your wife.
Oh, hey, wife is calling. What's up, Megan?
Well, the car smoking, that was one thing. But I think when we flew to Alaska and we had no plans, and the person that was supposed to pick us up at the airport, we found out was in Thailand.
That's right.
I think that was
yep. That's another one.
That was our craziest regroup. And then the other one was we tried to take a vacation in 2020 after the worst year ever.
Right.
And then Hurricane Sally showed up at our door.
That's right. Yeah, we went down to Florida. What was that, like in August or something? And yeah, you're right. A hurricane screwed that vacation up. So, no, appreciate it. Thank you for those memories. I love you.
Now, those were good vacations. We regrouped.
Yes,
but,
yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things is, you're such an awesome partner to be able to go through some of this and still keep a positive demeanor, especially after the Alaska trip, because that ended up being a pretty awesome trip, but we had to pull some last minute strings.
Yeah. It started rough, but once we hit the ground, we were gone.
Love it. All right, be safe. Have a good day at work this morning. My wife, Megan, calling in on this segment. 217-629-7970. Good morning. Your bad vacation stories.
Morning, Greg.
Hey.
Okay. The I could probably fill 2 hours with bad vacation stories.
I think everybody
One
can.
of my favorite one is that our family kind of all convenes in Bethany Beach, Delaware. So we drive from Illinois, and some of them live up north, and some of them live in different areas around the area. But we all convene in Bethany Beach, Delaware. This one year, my family, we all load them in the car. We get to the beach. I just drive straight through, and we're waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, sitting on the beach in the lifeguard chairs, just enjoying the sunlight, just thinking, oh, this is such a beautiful place. We hear somebody behind us in a little Ford Fusion honking their horn. I'm like, well, what the heck? I don't know anybody that drives from Cincinnati that drives a Ford Fusion or Ohio. Who the heck is that? My sister-in-law and her 5 kids and her husband, who's 6'9", get out of this little car. So my 16-year-old nephew is driving down the turnpike.
A 6'9" man got out of a Ford Fusion?
Yeah, with his 5 kids.
That must have been that must have looked like a clown car.
It did. All this luggage is laying on their laps and everywhere else.
Oh my gosh!
And they come walking up to the beach. I'm like, what happened? He goes, okay, well, my nephew was driving down the turnpike, and while he was driving down the turnpike, he noticed to his right that there was a tire bouncing down the road.
Oh no!
And he says, hey, Dad, there's a tire bouncing down the road. About that time, the back of the car started to go down, down. And he had lost the entire tire.
Oh, my gosh.
On the turnpike.
Oh.
And it's murder to get a tow truck on the turnpike to start with. So they just rented a car. Piled in, and drove to the beach.
That's hilarious.
Left their big minivan, or left their full-size van with everything else in it at the dealership or wherever they left it at to have all the stuff they needed to have fixed on it fixed, so that on their way back, they'd be able to drive their van.
Oh, my gosh. Lesson learned there, and I think a lesson that I learned when we took our vehicle down to Florida, and I think I even shared this with my colleague who had his family van crap out on him while he was hundreds of miles away. It's a lesson that somebody taught me not too long ago, and that is if you're going on a long-distance vacation and you're driving, just go ahead and do a rental car, because then it's not on you. Right? If it breaks down, you just call a rental company and be like, I need a new car. Boom. It's done. You don't have to worry about it.
I look at it this way. If my van craps out, I can always rent a car.
There you go.
So
right. But then your van is hundreds of miles away. And how are you going to deal with that? So, I don't know. Hey, I appreciate it.
You got to come back.
Yeah,
you got to come back.
That's true. I appreciate the call. These are stories that I think, I could do another 3 hours of this and have you guys call in. Appreciate all of the stories and everybody sharing. All right, it is the WMAY Morning News.